Hello, welcome to Three Geeks Live. My name is Jade, joined by Rondell, Philip, Mike, Dan, and Chris. A lot of stuff is going on in our little world that I'm going to discuss really quick before we get into the normal podcast. So we will be at Columbus Comic Con. We got a table. Mike should be coming in to join us. We're hoping. So at the table, we're giving away a $100 Visa gift card. I'm saying this at the beginning instead of the end. So look for us on Facebook, like us, join the event. That's all you have to do, and then tune into the podcast afterwards to find out if you won. But we're giving away a bunch of prizes. Our sponsor is going to donate some stuff. Also, we're now on Stitcher, so you can check us out on Stitcher and iTunes. We have an email address. Everything is Three Geeks Podcast across the board, whether it's at gmail.com, on Twitter, uh, iTunes, Stitcher. So we have finally made everything congruent. Facebook is facebook.com/Three Geeks Podcast. So yeah. Also check out our buddy Mike at youtube.com/Mike McGee And thanks to everybody that's followed us on Twitter. We went from 19 followers to 605 in 13 days, which is awesome. And it's not like you guys are just blindly following us, because we're getting comments back about people saying they really like the reviews, the videos. We're getting a lot of people sharing, retweeting, commenting. So thank you, everybody, for listening. Me and Philip kind of have a guesstimation of how many people are listening / watching, and it's a little bit more than we expected. So thank you, everyone. And like I said, please take some time, jump over to Mike's channel and check out his stuff. He's got a lot of good stuff on there, too. Anyway, let's get on with this news. Oh, also, comment below, like below. Let us know what you think of everything you're about to hear. So, in news, we have, it looks like the X-Men are going to cross over with the Power Rangers. No, wait, that's just Apocalypse. But it sure looks like a Power Ranger bad guy. As you could tell from this photo, that the Apocalypse is on the left, and then the guy on the right is from the Power Rangers movie. Very, very, very similar. Mike, I saw on your Facebook page you had some interesting comments about this. I'll let you go first.
Not really so much comments. It was just a link to, I can't remember the website's article, but it was just a picture of some Apocalypse cosplayers who did a damn good job of portraying a version of Apocalypse very true to its comic book roots, side by side with, Apocalypse ooze over there. And, I have a feeling that's more of a lighting thing with that photo, because I've seen like I think it's the Entertainment Weekly cover or whatever that shows off the first look at the X-Men Apocalypse, and he looks Apocalypse blue-ish in that, but it still doesn't look like Apocalypse, I guess. And when you compare it to the effort and ingenuity that a lot of people put into making the original design look passable in the real world, it was, I don't know, it's like, yeah, kind of, why couldn't you go with a more rooted in the comics design? But of course, I'm not expecting that really from this X-Men franchise, because this is the X-Men franchise that went all black leather jumpsuits their first time out instead of some of the colorful costumes. So even though we might be getting a little bit more of that classic comic book X-Men look in this movie, I don't know. We'll see what it looks like when it's in motion. It was just a funny thing to notice, and I guess the whole world's noticed it on the internet.
Yeah, it's it's just a picture. We're all looking at it out of context, obviously. When they dropped the Quicksilver photos a few years back before Days of Future Past came out, same kind of hate, and that's one of my favorite comic book movies of all time. So, there's still hope that this design and context will work, but just looking at this photo, it looks like the Power Rangers is crossing over with the other. Chris, you haven't been on our cast in a while. What do you think of this photo?
I I think as long as Wolverine and the Green Ranger can take them together, it should happen. I don't really I don't really know the story of Apocalypse too well, but I'm not a big fan of the way it looks, and I saw how a couple of other mashups with the head-on shot of him with a few other head-on shots of different adaptations, and he just doesn't look as strong of a character in this incarnation as all the other pictures I've seen. So we'll see, though. I mean, just like with Quicksilver, right? I saw the backlash from that too, and I really liked him. So we'll see how it comes off when it's actually on film.
Dan?
if they made the crossover, it'd probably be better than X2 anyway. I mean,
I like X2.
hey, I don't care. Yeah, he looks kind of cold and sad. He doesn't look very threatening. That's pretty much all I got.
Well,
So, I mean, he should look cold, just the sad part's the wrong part. He should look cold and maniacal. And better than you. That's generally Apocalypse's view on the world.
No, but not cold like, I'm a cold thinker or something. Just actual, like, physical chilling. That's what I was
He's
saying.
wearing the suit to keep warm.
You want to wrap him up in a blanket. You just feel sorry for him. He's a puppy dog.
Poor guy. Here, we'll just warm you up a little bit. Here's some hot cocoa, Apocalypse.
That's awesome. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's the color has to be off because it is just a little too purple, but we'll see.
Yeah, he kind of reminds me of a mix between Mr. Freeze and the enchanted king of the horse people in Lord of the Rings.
alright, let's go to Max real quick. Fuck that. Fuck that. It's gonna suck. It's gonna suck. I'm calling it. Fuck that. I hated Days of Future Past. Hated First Class. Yeah, it sucks. Sucks. Sorry, that's my Max impression. Just saying fuck a lot and saying it's gonna be horrible. I just wish Max was here in spirit because I'm sure he has a lot to say about X-Men Apocalypse. But Rondell, what do you think of the photo?
Not familiar with Apocalypse, but yeah, he does look very just sad, like depressed sad. Like, I don't need my villain to be depressed. Pissed off, but depressed. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I just Magneto just looks like he could just wash the floor with Apocalypse. It's supposed to be the other way around. But we'll see.
Honestly, it looks like the bad guy from Guardians of the Galaxy after he crossed over thanks to that purple stone in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
And now he's full-on purple alien warlord, whatever he was supposed to be in that movie.
But for some reason, he got smaller, and now he has weird dreads.
And he's sad about it.
Yes. Next up is a story that I couldn't make up if I wanted to. We are getting an Emoji Movie coming from our friends over at Sony. This is the company that wanted to bring you an Aunt May movie. This is a company that's doing a 22 Men in Black crossover. This is the company that was going to raise everybody that died in Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2 from the grave for Amazing Spider-Man 3. This is the company that seems like they have no idea what they're doing, and now we're getting an Emoji Movie. And with that being said, before I move forward with my rant, is the Lego Movie sounded like a horrible idea too, so I guess we never know. But just the concept of making a movie about emojis sounds really, really dumb. Really dumb. And this is another story that I really wish Max was here to give his opinion on. But, yeah. Philip, what are your thoughts on an Emoji Movie?
I mean, when you got nothing else. Well, what's crazier is I actually read an article about that. Apparently, there was a bidding war for this movie. So this whatever, if it's a whole script, I really would love to. I don't know. I just can't imagine like what is so captivating about this, other than a bunch of people that are out of touching. Hey, those kids play with them things called phones, cell phones, and they have them happy faces things on them. We need to get those in a movie. Make it happen. I don't know. Whatever. We'll see. Like the Lego Movie, I can at least respect and say, oh, okay, you could do something like I sold Lego video games. I could see how that translated. And they didn't do that. They went a completely different way, which worked. But anyways, this, I mean, unless they can just make an animated movie where it's just like, or is it going to be live action and then just emoji faces pop on people? I'm sad. Sad face.
I actually, Philip, I was just thinking about this. You almost made it sound like Inside Out. It's like Sony saw that Inside Out did well, and they're like, what can we do? Somewhere in the feelings realm, I got it, emojis, because, happy, sad, frowny face, crying, tears, laughing, the little poop emoji. Like, you could do so much with it. Mike, your thoughts?
Well, like Philip said, it's like, even with something like the Lego Movie, at least the concept of it lent itself to a lot of creativity. And that's what really could have captured the imagination of whoever watched it. I think they're even making like an Angry Birds movie or something. At one point, I could even see that being more of a movie property, just because that story's pretty simple. It's birds versus pigs, I guess, and you just crash into stuff. It'd be a cool action movie that's animated, I guess. I don't know. But this, I mean, even though I use them, even I acknowledge the uselessness of emojis. And I say this often, but this movie's already been done. It's a horror movie called Smiley, thank you very much, about a serial killer with a smiley face for a face who goes around killing people on chat roulette or whatever and does it for the lulz. So, too late. Someone beat you to it, Sony.
And it still wasn't good.
Dan, we'll just go to you, buddy. What do you got to say about emojis?
I don't know. I mean, what I really want to do, regardless about how this film turns out, because it's probably just going to be shit, I want to round like a bunch of old people and just make them go to the theater and watch it, and just like have one of those, like, you know, every now and then they'll have one of those movie experience movies, and they'll like have a mic outside of the theater and they'll tell you what a great experience it was. I just want to do that to the old people about the emojis because I think it'd be freaking hilarious. But that might be just me. I don't know.
Chris?
Yeah, I just don't know how you're going to pull this off. Like, I could see something like You've Got Mail or Must Love Dogs, where it's like a romantic comedy, but they only talk to each other in emoji or something. But an animated movie with just emoji is going to be the weirdest thing, because it's got to be the emoji, or I guess animated characters throwing emojis at each other, maybe? I don't know. They made Pixel, so they'll basically make anything.
There it is.
Well, maybe Pixel will be good. I still have hope, even though the trailers have told me otherwise. I want Adam Sandler to be funny again, but that's a whole other story. Maybe Adam Sandler will star in Emoji. Rondell, your thought on Emoji, the movie?
Speaking of pixels, it's just pixels and Inside Out mashed together, and they're trying to make it work. No.
Oh, man. Chris, your romantic comedy idea. I just picture, like, Harry Met Sally with emojis through the whole movie. The scene in the diner would be a little different if it was just text emojis. But, yeah, so moving on to what we want to talk about now. Oh, here's a story I didn't send you guys that I just remembered. Michael Cera is confirmed as Robin in the Will Arnett Lego Batman movie. Anybody have any thoughts on Michael Cera playing Robin? There's always money in the banana stand.
It's going to be the driest Robin character ever.
Well, you got the death metal Batman, so why not have a dry Robin? It'll be a nice teamwork.
Yeah, it'll be kind of a Wayne and Garth situation.
Oh, man. So another story that I have set up is AntMan was #1 at the box office, but it did $59.1 million, and everybody on the internet is calling it a flop, which it's not a flop. The movie had a $110 million budget, and Marvel was only expecting it to do $62 million, $63. So it did what it was supposed to do. Everybody just calm down. Ant-Man is not a flop. It performed like all of the other Phase 1 movies. It's a smaller film. It's not the Avengers. Mike, your thoughts on Ant-Man's box office and the quote-unquote flop?
Oh, boo-hoo, it only made $59 million.
I know, right?
God. Whatever, man. Yeah, and yeah, the Phase 1, the introductory standalone character movies, I know don't do spectacularly well compared to what we know Avengers can pull down, or even like newfangled concepts like Guardians of the Galaxy and so forth. Even though technically even this was a standalone, spoilers, it very much relies a lot on the universe itself to get through the plot. So whatever. I mean, I saw it this weekend. It was a fine. I think that's the problem too, is that a lot of people I know are kind of just saying it's fine. I know Max is in love with the thing, and he's gone like 4 times, he said. So, but for me, I'm like, I enjoyed it, and I'll probably own it on DVD when it comes out. But yeah, it's okay. And these days with Marvel movies, just being okay, you know, it gets people to be like, is this the end of Marvel Studios? The film was just okay. It just did multi-million-dollar deals, but not 100 multi-million-dollar deals. I'm like, whatever, dude.
Yeah, it'll make well into the $300 million at least worldwide. So Marvel is not at all upset about Ant-Man's box office by any stretch of the imagination. Uh, Anybody else want to comment on the box office?
Plus, it's obscure. So like Guardians, they heavily advertised. I mean, that thing, they constantly introduced you to Guardians for months. They set that up. This, they just started throwing around. Here's something, and I think they have enough faith on it. Because like for me, I enjoyed it enough that I'm gonna recommend. I know this seems weird, but it's a fun action movie that's got some good humor in it. You'll enjoy it. Go give it a watch. And I think that's the difference about this is I think this will have some legs. How much legs we'll see, but I think they'll more than make their money back. Plus worldwide, I guess it's already up to $120 million. So there's no issue about them making money. It's we in the U.S. think we're the biggest thing, and anymore that's becoming less and less true.
Yeah, it's honestly how Statham keeps getting movies in theaters, is because his movies perform so well overseas. But no, I heard an interview with Paul Rudd, and they asked him about this weekend's box office, and he's like, "Are you kidding me?" He's like, "Every time I try to sell this movie to somebody, it's about a guy who talks to ants. Like, it's awesome that we did $60 million this weekend, and when the character moves on to the other movies, we're going to do better the next time." It's a hard sell to sell a character when you tell him, yeah, his superpower is he talks to ants and he shrinks. It's like you don't sell it. You just got to let people go see it and have the experience of enjoying something.
I think they did a really good job of keeping the marketing really niche, but I think that obviously comes with a niche following. But everybody who I know has seen it has been pretty game on it, and I think it's going to do pretty good overall. I just think people need to it's the whole when's Apple gonna fail, when's Pixar gonna fail, when's Marvel gonna fail. It's kind of the man on top syndrome. Everybody's looking for that chink in the armor.
Dan, you got any comments on the box office of Ant-Man?
Sounds good. I haven't seen it yet. I heard it's good.
Right, anything to add?
Just Marvel set the bar so high. It's fine.
Yeah, and plus, I mean, Marvel is doing just fine. Everybody else is trying to copy what Marvel is doing, so they obviously are not in any danger. And it's Ant-Man. Ant-Man made $60 million. Like,
Right.
That is just a concept alone. Like, Ant-Man should probably have made $12 million, but it did really, really well. And it was actually a well put together film. So
I like to think about classic Hollywood actors now just sitting at home reading reviews or reading what box office is these days. Like Jack Nicholson sitting at home being like, God damn it, a movie named Ant-Man made $60 million. I was in Batman and it didn't make that much its opening weekend or whatever. It's like I was in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Chinatown. I'm a goddamn Oscar winner, and my movie can't beat out a movie called Ant-Man.
And kids these days didn't have to deal with the main summer box office movie being Rocketeer in the 90s. Like, that was a horrible, horrible movie. And that's all we had to go see.
What are you talking about, Chris? That was a great movie. Come on.
Yeah, don't be knocking my Rocketeer, man.
Speaking of the lower budget films, all the studios right now have their eyes set on Deadpool. Deadpool could change the game when it comes out next year. It's a low budget, R-rated superhero movie, and if it does well, we're going to start seeing probably a lot more of that. So, the last thing I have, and this is just rumor, so we'll speculate and have fun, but it's said that Benicio del Toro is rumored to be in Star Wars Episode 8. Philip, what are your thoughts?
So, I mean, I like Benicio del Toro. I mean, he's always interesting in the roles he does. It'll be interesting to see how they use him as a villain and whether or not it's I don't know. I would say he's going to be a main villain, but Guardians of the Galaxy proved otherwise. So he could do kind of something where it's kind of like the long game, and we'll have to see. But otherwise, yeah, I mean, I like him as an actor. Have to wait and see, though. I mean, I need to see 7, honestly.
Dan?
Can he play Gambit? That's what I want.
Benicio del Toro as Gambit, really?
Yeah, in Star Wars. It sounds great. I mean, I would watch that over and over. He shows up there throwing cards. Stormtroopers are flying around. You got James Earl Jones in the Darth Vader suit. It's great. I can't wait for the Star Wars to come out.
That actually sounds like a great idea. I was about to suggest just bring him back as the Collector and tie it all together, but no. Bring him back as Gambit, tie in Marvel Studios, Star Wars, 20th Century Fox's Marvel stuff. Get all that together, because, I mean, we got to get the money going somehow. That'll be a multi-million-dollar, like, juggernaut. You got to do something. Ant-Man only made $60 million.
And then you can have your sad, cold Power Rangers villain show up. See, it's great. We'll just tie it all together and make a Lego game.
And then Jason David Frank can be in a Star Wars movie.
Oh, he would love that. He's free. He's available. When we go to Comic-Con, we're going to try to get an interview with him, and I'll ask him about it. But you guys, check out Patton Oswalt on YouTube. He does a whole rant about merging all these universes together. It's like 20 minutes. It was on Parks and Rec. They just let the camera roll, and he just riffed. And it's really funny, and it's about what Dan just said and Mike just said. Chris, your thoughts on Benicio del Toro?
I mean, we've had a pretty wide cast of characters in Star Wars. A lot of people are playing extras and stuff. Christopher Lee as Count Dooku was kind of a weird, oddball thing, but he did fine. Obviously that's kind of right up his alley. But I'm sure there's some kind of weird Outlander kind of bounty hunter guy that they'll come across that he could play. Like the Collector / Once Upon a Time in Mexico kind of thing. It could be really interesting. Who knows? I don't know where they're going with the new characters yet to know whether or not he's gonna clash with the way that things are gonna play out.
Rondell?
Like him as an actor. Just look forward to seeing how it turns out.
And I lied. That was not my last story. There's one more. So Sam Raimi, on the buzz with Ash vs. Evil Dead coming back, is now talking to NBC about bringing Xena Princess Warrior back, which I had no idea Sam Raimi was involved with the original series. But he is in talks to bring that back. And from what I saw at Comic-Con, it sounds like Lucy Lawless and Bruce Campbell are interested in reprising their roles. Dan, I believe you're a Xena fan. What's your thoughts?
Is it going to be like Xena, old warrior princess, has to sit down on the throne and not move at all?
I'd watch that.
I don't know. Does she have like a warrior daughter that goes somewhere? Because she's getting you can make fun with like Ash with the false teeth and the girdle and stuff. I don't think it'll really translate into Xena. It would work for like one episode, and then it would get like really, really boring.
Lucy Lawless is still kicking it though. That's old deal. She's not that old.
No, but how many seasons are there going to be?
But I mean, even in the Evil Dead trailer, she seemed like she was flipping around and doing some stuff. I mean, she's not like Bruce Campbell, where he probably couldn't flip around like that anymore.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Your thoughts on Xena?
We live in a world where we saw Harrison Ford in his 70s survive a nuclear blast in a fridge, man. I believe Lucy Lawless can be a fine warrior princess again. I only saw a couple episodes of Xena, honestly, back in the day. But I remember it being silly and fun and everything like that. Whenever there was a crossover with Hercules, that was kind of funny. That's what we need. It's like if you get the Xena reboot, then you get the Hercules reboot, and then we can get Kevin Sorbo back to work so he can stop making Christian propaganda films.
How dare you mention Harrison Ford in the refrigerator while the rest of us are trying to forget that movie ever happened?
I'm just saying, dude, if we can put up with that bullshit, we can put up with Xena coming back.
Yeah, but wouldn't that just kind of make it bullshit then?
It's always bullshit. It's always been bullshit. This whole thing is bullshit, man. We're talking about bullshit straight up here. None of this is real.
It's all real.
Clash of all worlds. Just
if you're
battle the Amazons.
If you're watching us live, send in any comments, questions, concerns, tweets, cuss out Dan, Philip, myself, whatever you want to do. Yeah, so that's all I have. Philip, what do you got?
I got a little bit of gaming news. So when Windows 10 finally actually gets released, I don't really see this being a great use, but for anyone that's has an Xbox One and doesn't want to turn it on, you'll be able to actually stream. I mean, the advantage I see here is maybe if you're married or if somebody's using the TV with the Xbox, then you can play it on your PC. Let's see. Next one. Oh, just a heads up here for anyone who is interested. Your Origin ID, which is basically what was EA's account store, will eventually just turn to EA account. I think EA is trying to get to a single brand so that way everyone knows who they are, because that's what they use on consoles. That's pretty much it as far as news, but I'll talk about a few games that are out this week. Nothing really crazy or that interesting. Journey, which was a PS3 exclusive game, and it's getting re-released on PS4 because that's what Sony's known for right now at this point. It's re-releasing their old games. Eventually they're going to get some good exclusives. But anyway, so it's getting re-released. It's kind of, if you haven't experienced it, I've heard it's a very interesting game. You have a lot of co-op where you don't actually talk to somebody. You just kind of pass them in kind of a desert, and you have to interact with them. Apparently it's an interesting concept. And then a game that sounds interesting, I don't know if I'll try it out, but is Tembo the Badass Elephant, which is, imagine an animated elephant that is Rambo, essentially. And it's a side-scroller, 16-bit. I guess it's made in kind of like the Metal Slug kind of ways. It looks fun, looks interesting, so it's a game to check out. And that's pretty much it.
As long as it's better than the actual Rambo video game.
Oh, come on, man. You don't like the on-rails shooter?
Now, are we talking about the old NES game where you couldn't figure out where the hell to go? Or the one that just came out that just kills you and you hear, shit, I forget the commanding officer's name, just yell Rambo 500 million times.
Either or, dude. I just remember the new one having his big-ass head and freaky-looking arms.
Yes, the sausage arms. Don't you remember that from the movie?
It'll make more sense if it's if he was an elephant. So yeah, I might have to check that out.
Awesome. Anybody have anything else to add? Any comic books? Anybody by any chance have any comic book news for Max? Which, by the way, Max is at a screening of Southpaw. His interview will be up around 9:30 or 10 o'clock tonight, so definitely check that out. It'll probably be him ranting and raving, because I don't think he likes boxing movies, but we'll see. He wasn't super excited about going to this premiere, but he's the one of us that had a couple hours to go tonight. So
I love that he's the one that went. Did anybody else catch the Drone Nationals this week? It's kind of an interesting geek thing.
No, I didn't even hear about that actually.
So they are racing drone helicopters, and it's all time-based. It's like Formula One, but on a soccer field with a bunch of gates. It's kind of interesting. Interesting concept. I know a guy who was in the races and watched him training up for it and everything, and it's really interesting to watch, and going to be cool to see how they start to, deliver our packages and do all the other awesome geek stuff that drones are supposed to do.
Well, thank you for watching/listening. Check out Mike at youtube.com/MikeMcGTV. I'll go ahead and share that drone thing on our Facebook page, so definitely check that out. Go to our Facebook page, like us, join the event, win a $100 Visa gift card. That's all you have to do. It takes 2 seconds, and we do have other prizes, so it's not like a 1 out of 100 to win. You got some pretty good odds to win something. Check us out on everything, Stitcher, iTunes, everything at Just 3 Geeks Podcast. From all of us. Oh, and check out our review of Sharknado 3, which will be happening sometime tomorrow night. It'll be me and my wife and maybe Dan. So, yeah, check it out. Have a great night, everybody.